Bowling with the Faf.
Bowling with the Faf.
Get fast.
Got it.
Salsa Sam!
Hello.
This lane, I think.
I would like to challenge Matt Bozak.
Scotty Bull.
Jason Belmonte.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Bowling with the Fef, a platform for you to share your unique bowling story live on our YouTube channel. Happy New Year to everybody. This is our first episode of 2024, and certainly excited to bring new bowling content and live interviews and all that other good stuff to you in the new year and beyond. We are into an exciting week in our area. In the area near Eau Claire, Wisconsin, where the Chippewa Valley Match Games is coming up this weekend. It's the 6th and 7th at Wagner's Lanes in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I will be live streaming the finals, the stepladder finals. It'll be Sunday, January 7th. They anticipate that that'll start around 2:30 in the afternoon, but do not be surprised if it's a little earlier than that, a little later than that. It all depends on when match play is over. The competitors will do qualifying on Saturday, 8 games, 2 different squads, and they still do have openings. So check out the video on this channel in the playlist for the 2024 Chippewa Valley Match Games to get details on that. They will take a kind of a number determined by how many entries they receive, but it could be up to 24 people into Sunday's match play. They'll bowl 12 games there, I believe a position round after that, and then on to that stepladder final. This is the shot that they will be competing on. It's a 43-foot U.S. Open pattern from 2018, the U.S. Open pattern number 4. And as you know, with a longer format, that will break down and, you know, not stick around for too long, but they will be re-oiling between qualifying shifts, so everybody will get a shot at the fresh and see how it breaks down from there. But on Sunday, for the match play in the stepladder, they will only be oiling at the beginning of the day. So by the time you get into those later games and into the stepladder finals, it can get a little crispy, but these guys are some of the best in the Midwest, and they will certainly know how to maneuver through it. Again, the Chippewa Valley Match Games this weekend, January 6th and 7th, and you can see the stepladder finals right here on the Bowling with the Fef channel. Well, Bowling with the Fef is brought to you each and every week by Chip Magnet Salsa. Chip Magnet is a company that's based here in Eau Claire, a family business. Eau Claire, Wisconsin, distributing to stores in more than 38 states and Canada. If you are in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, home of Chip Magnet Salsa, it's pretty much everywhere. You can find it at Festival Foods and Woodman's and Target, Eau Claire Cheese and Deli, just to name a few. But you can also get it online. ChipMagnetSalsa.com is the place. And if you haven't been there before, try this promo code. If you spend $30 or more and enter the promo code BWTF2023 at checkout, you get 20% off of your purchase of $30 or more. Limit 1 order per email address. Again, that website address, chipmagnetsalsa.com. And if you didn't get any under your tree during the holidays, trust me, it's something you're going to want for January. You know, those football afternoons or even in the mornings with some eggs. It's great stuff, and they are a great partner to Bowling with the Fef. Chip Magnet Salsa, raise your snack standards. So our guest tonight is among the leaders in fill percentage in Wisconsin's District 10 of high school bowling. He's a sophomore this year. Tailen Scheuermann bowls with the co-op team between Altoona High School and Memorial High School in Eau Claire. So a couple of different schools competing together, and they are taking District 10 by storm. We're going to bring him out here. Tailen is the high-speed rail, and I say it that way because, as you're going to find out, he really hasn't bowled all that long to be at the level that he's at. So, Tailen, first of all, let me turn your mic on. You got that. Welcome to Bowling with the Fef. Thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. So let me start with this. The first and only time that I bowled against you was at a sweeper over, I believe it was the summer. It was several months ago.
Yeah.
And you were injured, yet you got out there, you bowled all 8 games, and you started things off by defeating me. You put me in a situation where I needed to double, and I didn't. Let me ask you, was that something that made you feel great? Or was it just something like, okay, that was as expected. This guy, he's got no business being here.
So like my original mindset before coming into the tournament was, let's make it through all the games first. I currently, like before that, I injured myself playing football for Altoona or whatever, but I was just trying to make it through the day. It probably wasn't the greatest idea to be bowling, but I was gone for quite a bit and I really wanted to get out there and bowl. So it was,
Yeah. No, you did great. I mean, it's always tough to play through the pain in something like that. Does that kind of thing tell you a little more about yourself than maybe you knew coming into a long format event like that?
My physical game was definitely there. But it was just the mental part of just, I got this, like getting my confidence back, rolling into it, like coming out of an injury, because I've struggled with that before. But beforehand, like, yeah, my wrist was just, it was definitely toast, and I probably shouldn't have been bowling, but I made it through mentally and tried to get my confidence back, just doing something little like that instead of a big tournament right away. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, and on a challenging pattern. So, great reps for sure. Now that we're into the season and you started in league and in high school and all that, at the beginning of the season, are you 100% again?
So I would like to say yes, but it comes and goes. I had this problem last year a little bit, and that kind of led towards my injury. I didn't take a break fully, which is kind of on my part, but it comes and goes. I wear a lot of KT tape and wrist tape and take good care of it and bowl when I should be and when I shouldn't, stop when I should not be. So yeah.
Yeah. Good. Well, you're certainly having a great season so far, and the evidence of that, all over the standing sheets at Junior League, the standing website for the high school league. So that's great to see. Let's get into the start of your bowling story. And again, the reason we're calling this high speed rail is because you got up to speed really quickly. You were a relative late bloomer to bowling. You didn't really do that when you were a younger kid, right?
So my dad was bowling leagues and stuff when he was around 18. He joined an adult league or whatever, and I was kind of around the atmosphere, but then he kind of quit for a very, very long time. And then come March of I think 2022 would be, I started bowling, and I just love it a lot. So
okay. So I guess how big an influence was your dad in that decision to kind of start up?
So originally it wasn't going to be him starting. It was my little brother that started getting into it. He bowls up in Wausau for middle school bowling and ever, but he started in a league and he had a house ball. And then it came around March time and he got a real bowling ball. And then that pulled my dad into it. And I was like, well, those two are doing it. I really want to do it. So I kind of joined along with them and got a ball too. So. Okay.
And tell me about starting out. What was it like for you? Did he act as a coach at that time? Did you have to kind of find your own way?
So yeah, he tried to coach me as best he could as a righty. It's kind of hard, different sides, him trying to demonstrate and everything. But success wise, I think I started off a pretty hot start. I would say I went from a 140 average to a 180 in a couple of months. So I mean, I found success pretty early, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it about this sport, about the timing, all that stuff that got you, really going that quickly?
I would like to say just I liked it so much. I went with my dad and we started going once or twice a week. And then it went to 3 or 4 times a week, and we just kept consistently going. And I just fell in love with it, and I couldn't get out of the bowling alley. So,
yeah. Was it always Wagner's that was your home house? Wagner's Lanes in Eau Claire?
Mm-hmm. I bowl a lot of places, but always Wagner's is my go-to house, and yeah.
Tell me about kind of what it means to you to bowl in a place that really has a lot of history like that. I mean, Wagner's isn't the typical center, even in the Midwest, I've found. It's been around for 70 plus years. You've got some of the biggest tournaments in the Midwest that have been there. The Ladies Professional Bowlers Tour has been there. Does that kind of enter your mindset at all as you're either practicing or competing there?
Yeah, I mean, the atmosphere there is just absolutely phenomenal. Like, I love everybody there that bowls and like that works there. Everybody's super nice and welcoming. And then compared to like our high school season, we have like the biggest house besides like Bullwinkle's, obviously. And everybody comes there and they're so amazed of like the atmosphere and how everything is there. So it's super nice. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly one of the nicer ones in this area. How long did it take from when you started to getting into something organized, the junior program, for example?
That's a good question. I started a summer league like 3-4 months into bowling, an adult youth summer league that Wagner's hosts. And that's what I started off in with my dad, and it's just something to get consistently going. It was like every Wednesday at like 5:00, and we ended up winning that league, surprisingly, but it was just something to get me going every week and go there, and it was a lot of fun. So,
okay, you say surprisingly, but kind of take me back to that moment. Walk me through, what was it like in those last couple weeks, and then taking that title, for you and for Dad. I'm guessing both of you had to be thrilled, right?
Yeah, so we're both very like competitive, and we don't like losing. So we were down, I think it's like a format of the 4 games or whatever, like each week that you win. Mm-hmm. And we were down like 4 from the leader, and we originally lost to them. Like, we had a very bad week, I remember, and we lost to them 0-4. They got all 4 of our points. Oh. And then the last week we were like almost neck and neck for total, and we ended up taking their 4 games and we won it. So it came down to the very last week to win it, and it was super fun.
Yeah, I bet. So, you go from that, and of course, with that success, you want to keep going. What was it like to be in the junior program for the first time, like in the regular bowling season?
Yeah, so my friend Connor Schmoody, he also bowls like on the team. He bowled it with his brother and their like family friend, and they kind of pulled me into it. They weren't really big into bowling, but they kind of pulled me into it. They're like, "Hey, want to come join our team? It's teams of 4." And they pulled me into it, and it was just, yeah, every little like youth kid in there from like ages from like 6 or even like some toddlers that bowl there to like 18 years old. And it was like first real competitive scene around like kids my age.
Yeah. How did you take to it right off the bat?
I don't think I struggled that much. I think I had a little bit of a problem with like looking around at people and like seeing like how good they were, and I was focused on them more than my own game, which came over time to realize that it's about my bowling, not about how they're bowling. So
yeah. Who did you have on your team that year? Was it the same team that you're on now?
No. So they unfortunately don't bowl youth league anymore. They're just kind of busy. I had 2 sets of brothers, Connor and Alex, which all these kids bowl for our high school team. And then Tacoma, my good friend. Yeah, we all bowled on a team. We did pretty good. I think we finished 2nd.
Okay. Did that make things easier for you, kind of knowing the teammates before you get started in this? I mean, I remember being in junior leagues where I just kind of got thrown on a team and had to meet, these people as I got going here. But these are friends from back further for you.
Yeah, it definitely made it a lot easier because the atmosphere, like they boosted everything up. Like, we're having a good friendly time while just doing something fun. So like everything was just nonchalant, less stressful. I didn't have to like meet new people, which wasn't, I mean, it's a good thing, but it was easier to bowl with my friends. I bowled better. I feel like more focused, a little bit more competitive with my friends. So
sure. Tell me about your game and how you kind of developed, because, here's a little video from this year, but I mean, does this, kind of look like how you were starting out, or were there mechanical things or even mental things that you had to work on?
A big part would be definitely my mental game. Like my physical game right away, it was kind of there. I still have my backswing problem, but it was all mental. It was just trying to get as good as these kids in like the shortest amount of time because I felt so behind. Like they have so many years on me and it's hard to catch up to them, I felt like. So it was all mental. But once I realized that combine everything together, I can be as good as these kids and start eventually beating these kids. So
Sure. Yeah. When did you get that feeling? I mean, I feel like nobody really has that starting out, but was there a moment that convinced you, hey, I'm not the newbie anymore. I can compete here.
I think it was like our 4th week of high school bowling. I really struggled. My first couple of weeks were really, really tough. I remember we started off at Bullwinkle's and it was just a completely new atmosphere and everybody was just like unfamiliar faces everywhere. The Baker format was not familiar with. I ended up not doing good. I think I had like 10 opens or something there. And then it was a double match. So it was like 5 apiece. So, I mean, for starting out wasn't that bad. And then I go into a single match in Superior, far away from home. And that was one of the worst, I think, bowling experiences I definitely had on my part. I had 12 opens out of 18 frames, and I was just mentally gone, physically gone. It was bad. So, yeah, but after that, I took a step back, and then I think we went to Rice Lake, which we have a meet there or whatever. But we went to Rice Lake, and I just finally pieced everything together, and I start more like confidently rolling the ball. And Tyler saw that, and my teammates saw that, and really good feeling.
Yeah. So the high school team, some of us who bowled in high school, we just kind of knew, okay, well, it's 9th grade, time to bowl in high school. Was that something that was kind of a foregone conclusion for you, or was that something that you needed to convince yourself or be convinced to join that team?
So, goes back to that youth league. I know Memorial was running super low on kids that year. They didn't even have a team as of like 2 weeks before competition or 3 weeks before competition. And Josh Webb, the district coordinator, his kid bowls in the youth league and he was there and he saw some unfamiliar faces that you didn't see him bowl, but he was like, wow, those kids, they're pretty good. And he came up to us and he connected us with Tyler and all of us went and we all were like, we should do this. I think it'd be very fun. So we ended up doing it and high school bowling came back this year.
I mentioned before, you're kind of in this co-op situation where you're from 2 different schools. Did you know everybody on the team when you first joined it, or did you have to kind of, meet some new people in the process?
So at the time, there was only 2 Memorial kids, Cameron and Cody. Cody's a senior and Cameron graduated last year. And I think we kind of connected with them like right away. Like these are going to be our teammates and we got to go. And I don't know. It was just the competitive mindset of let's work together as a team and let's go beat these people, other teams out there. So
sure. And tell us about the format. You mentioned the Baker system. Is that the whole deal? Is it just part of it? Because it seems like whatever state you're in, it can be a little varied as far as format between Baker games and traditional games.
Yep. So I think it's around like 8 weeks of all team Baker. It's we bowl best out of like first 2-5, so best out of 9 games. And whoever takes that match gets the match point. It's all Baker format, the traditional 5-10, 4-9, etc. And then all of it goes down to opens and fill percentage. And then after that, the top 5 kids for fill percentage go to state, and then they bowl 3 individual games. And then the top 2 teams for our district go to state, and then they bowl 15 Baker games, I believe. So,
okay. So really, the lion's share of this is the Baker system. Was this your first exposure to that?
Yeah.
Or had you done that before?
It was just it was my first, like, what is this type of deal? But once I got onto it, I understood, but I didn't have any idea about anything like formats of bowling besides just going there and throwing a ball before. Sure. And then once I started getting more competitive stuff, my dad kind of explained it, Tyler kind of explained it, and it made more sense.
Sure. It's one thing to learn, where to be when and what position you're bowling in and all that. It's another thing to be in it. What's it like to be in those Baker matches with your team? And how do you, I guess, work toward getting the best result out of everyone on that team?
So I think a big thing is like comfortability, how everybody feels comfortable bowling what frame and who bowls the best there. And it's kind of trial and error at first if you don't really know your team. But once you get like an idea of who's comfortable where, it's pretty easy. I think my freshman year I started off 3-8, and then like 2 weeks in, we figured out that Cameron, the senior at the time, he felt really comfortable and he had a lot of hot starts there.
Mm-hmm.
And we moved him there, moved me up to 4-9, and everything kind of rolled and the scores kept going up, and just a bunch of trial and error basically.
Yeah, I remember certainly in college, I ended up being a leadoff guy a lot. And that's kind of a different animal, isn't it? Because nobody really has, a whole lot of knowledge, especially when you're switching pairs. What is it like to kind of work with your leadoff person and kind of gain that knowledge, that information for them before you get up on the approach?
So it's a lot different because my whole team's two-handed.
Okay.
Besides me and one other kid, but I'm also the only lefty on the team too, and there's not a lot of transition over there. So I'm kind of in my own world, but it's good for our leadoff to get back to all the other two-handers and like bounce back information and board moves and everything to make sure everybody's on the same page of what the pair's going to do.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Tyler. I reached out to him, of course, because he's the coach of your team, and asked him about you. He told me that you've grown to start being a leader in the team, to aiding others in each of the matches. One might say, he says, he's good. Tell me about kind of that process of kind of being new to Baker system, new to high school bowling, and then growing into more of a leadership role. Is that something that you have on your mind that you even realized, or is this something that kind of naturally happens?
So when I first came into the program, Cameron Kecker, he was the big senior, and I kind of went under his wing for that year, and he kind of taught me like the roads of everything and how to be a good bowler, how to be a good teammate and like a leader. And once he ended up graduating, I wanted to be the one to fill that spot because I feel like I love this game and I want to win, and I want everybody else to succeed on my team with me. So I kind of wanted to bump into that leader spot and help everybody be great.
Yeah. What does that mean? I'm sure, Cameron does it one way and you kind of make it your own too, right? I mean, what does being a leader consist of in high school bowling? What do you have to have on your mind to effectively lead this team?
Just a positive attitude, and like even if somebody's bowling bad, like lift them up. It's not all going to be like everybody's going to be at the tip top of their performance. Everybody's going to have weeks where they struggle at certain places and certain times, but it's just everybody feeling like welcome and be like, oh, if I make a mistake, my teammate has my back and we have each other. Let's do this and win. So it's just a bunch of building on each other to succeed.
Sure. Tyler also said he tends to keep a strong head on his shoulders and helps everyone else out to stay forward in the right foot, so to say. And I think that's an important part. I mean, that's a quality that not everybody has. Where does that come from for you? Do you think it's just something that you naturally have as part of your personality, or is it something that has to be learned?
I would say outside of the lanes, I can be like a very outgoing person. I'm not a big fan of all the attention on me, but if it's there, I'm not going to fold under pressure. So I like just helping everybody out, being a helpful person, because if I'm the only one to succeed and my teammates aren't, it's not really fun to me. I want everybody else to be up there at my level competing, and it's a lot better that way, in my opinion.
Sure. This season, you have had quite a run. In fact, according to this site that Tyler referred me to, you are number 3 here in fill percentage so far this season. Is that something that is a surprise to you? Is it something that is not? I mean, tell me about that. What does that mean to you to be, someone that people are looking up at right now?
Yeah, so I'm gonna rate this like back to last year a little bit. Last year I think I finished 12th. Up until the very last couple of weeks, I felt like I was very close in the run, and then I had a couple of struggles. And going into the off season, I was like, this is something that I really want to work towards, and I want to be at the top, and I know I can be competing with these guys. So, I mean, during this whole summer, I was putting in the work and hours and everything, and it definitely paid off this season. I think I kind of saw it coming.
Yeah.
I knew, yeah, it was just a lot of hard work, and I knew it was going to get me somewhere. So,
Sure. I noticed right above you is one of your teammates, Cody. What's it like working with him? To kind of make this team as good as it can be.
he's a great bowler, and even off the lanes, I don't really talk to him off the lanes, but when we do, he's a great friend too. And we set this aside for our team. We're not really going neck to neck trying to get in other people's way. It's just we bowl our own game, and coincidentally, we're both at the top. So
Yeah. For some reason, I just got this all tied up, and I'm not sure why. But bear with me here as I try and get myself back here. Yeah, I'm not sure why. Huh. Weird. Hold on one second here. For some reason, we are not on the overlay. Maybe I put the wrong one up. How about that? That's better. Yeah, I just clicked the wrong button. That'll happen from time to time. Along with the high school thing, you're also into the junior tournament tours in our state. In fact, Tyler mentioned that you had an interesting experience and really made quite a splash the first time you competed at the JBST. Tell us about that. Where was it? When was it? And walk us through what happened.
So I had no idea about any of the tours up until last year's match games. Trace happened to be there, and so did his mom, Sam. And Tyler kind of introduced us when he was born or whatever. He came up to me and he's like, meet Sam. She could be definitely a very helpful person, which she is. And she was like, I think you should start bowling stuff outside of high school bowling. I think it would be very good for you as a bowler. And so she would offer to take me to my first JBSC, which was, I think, around a week or two later in January. It was at Boulevard Lanes in Madison.
Okay.
And it was my first time having an experience like that too. It was like high school all over again, but a lot more competitive. And I went in there bowling in the handicap division because I didn't think I could really compete with the top guys in the scratch. And it ended up having a really good first game. I think I shot 250. First time ever on sport, and I figured it out right away. And I was like, I think I'm going to do good at this. And I had a couple of high and low games. I think I ended up finishing the block at minus 11 and qualifying in third, tied for third place. And then I went into step ladder, and I bowled this girl. Her name's Chloe, I believe.
Okay.
And I had struggles earlier in the day with ball reaction and everything. And there's this coach for Chippewa. His name is Brian. Super helpful guy. And he was just running me down what I should do. And I ended up winning that match by a lot. I figured it out. He helped me out. And then going into the championship match, I ended up bowling Henry Vader, Robert's little brother. And
Sure.
It was a very big competitive match, I would like to say. I think it finished off 210 to 214. I left the Greek church and guttered, and I think it went downhill from that. But a good second place finish from our first ever tournament, and I met a lot of cool people that day and a lot of friends. I met my girlfriend actually, who's a bowler. Her dad Brian, who helped me out earlier that day. So yeah, a lot of cool experiences just from that one tournament.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, there's so much there. How often did you go back to do more of those?
I went the next month with my girlfriend's. She also bowls and her brother bowls, but her dad was like, "Hey man, if you ever want to go to more of these JBSTs, I'm willing to take you." And Sam was in the same way, but I was like, "I'm gonna go with Brian. We'll see how everything plans out." And we ended up going. I didn't have a lot of success there. I think it was more in my head again. And I just kept going every month with the same group. And I go to almost every single one of them now. I try my best to. It's hard with like high school bowling and everything, but
Yeah. And for people who aren't familiar with this area and how, those junior tours work in Wisconsin, a lot of these stops are down by Madison or Milwaukee or Green Bay. So it takes a lot of effort and some resources and some helpful parents, like you said, to get, kids from this area down to those events. So that's really cool, that you've had the help to get down there, because obviously it's a good experience for you. By the way, your girlfriend was another one who beat me in that sweeper. I remember when I got to the pair that she was on, she said, "Are you the one who just shot 130?" And I said, "Yes." And I think that kind of, got her in killer mode. And yeah, she took care of me too. Needless to say, I didn't cash in this one. So, but it was fun. It was a good time there. All right. So nowadays, you're bowling this, these JBSTs, you're bowling high school, excuse me. And you have a big match on the high school front coming up this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell us about that. Where is it? Who are you against? And why does it matter?
So we're going to Rice Lake. It's a great house. It's like 16 lanes. I was telling you earlier, the synthetic, there's like the front half is like synthetic and the back half is wood. But it's
and
cool.
We're talking heads versus back ends.
Yeah,
on every lane.
Yeah, it's an interesting house, but it's very cool. And we ended up bowling. We would like to say our rivals Superior. We're usually the top two teams up in there in the district. Since last year we had troubles beating them, but we're both undefeated, both 6-0, and we're both going into this match, and it's going to be very interesting. I'd like to say so.
Wow. Yeah, that is a big match. What's been the chatter among you and your teammates kind of leading up to this?
We're just I think we're going into this week. We're just gonna practice hard, and I think we know that we're good enough to beat anybody in that district. And I mean, I think it's just a confidence thing. I think if we all roll good and we just stay out of our heads and don't get frustrated, I think we'll be just fine. But just staying out of our heads for the most part and just having a good time. We bowl the best when we have a good time.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. You're also a content creator, and I want to get into that a little bit too, because you've got a channel. It's your name, and this is kind of what it looks like. If you can kind of get out of the way with my little tube buddy thing here, but you've got plenty of stuff. Tell us about what your videos are all about, and what it's like creating videos for YouTube.
Yeah, so I first started one time. I got a tripod just for fun, just to record myself, see how I do over the time. And I first started with Tyler subbing for a summer league. Me and my friend Tacoma were there just bowling, and we were like, you know what? We watched a lot of Darren Tang and Packy and everybody. We're gonna make a video on Tyler, which I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, you might have a couple shots in that first video.
Okay.
I think I shut it out your YouTube channel. It probably didn't help much, but yep. And then I think 3 or 4 months later, there's this adult youth tournament in the Midwest or whatever, in Minnesota. They have this big tournament. It's a 3-day thing. And there's an adult youth tournament. And we're like, we should go down there, me and Tyler, and go bowl it and see how we do. So we ended up doing that. I come back. It takes me 3 months to edit the video. I was not motivated at all.
Yeah.
And then I got it together. I uploaded it, and it started doing decently well for my first video. I remember it reaching 500, and then a couple days later, 800, and then 1,000. And I was like, our high school season's coming up, and I really like doing this. And I think I could have not success, but have a fun time doing it with my friends.
Yeah.
And that way, and I did, and now we make them usually every meet. I like to upload them a day before the meet.
Okay.
Before our next prior one. So they usually come out around Saturdays, maybe the day of Sundays.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What what has that taught you about, let's say the whole gamut, video production and bowling? I mean, there are lessons to learn in both, right?
Yeah. I really love video production, and it's something that I want to further eventually. It's just super fun. I love creating stuff. I love being creative, and I feel like that allows me to put it like all into one. I love bowling and I love creating, so let's just combine it. And yeah, I feel like bowling does come first though. Like when I'm vlogging and everything at the meets, like it's all bowling first, and but it's hard because like I want good content, I want to bowl good. So sometimes they do kind of collide, but I have people to help me out with filming and microphones and everything like that. So
Yeah, and Tyler's into that too. He knows that stuff.
yeah, he's been a big help with it. When our cameraman is gone, he helps, and he bought us these like microphones for the team that up the production. So
Okay. All right, cool. Well, again, that's Talen's name, Tailen Scheuermann on YouTube, and yeah, go over there, give him a subscribe. I just did, and yeah, I'm happier for it. But you know, let's kind of talk about the future. Where you go from here. You know, in bowling. I mean, everybody's kind of got different dreams and a different path in the sport. You're off to such a great start. I mean, you know, what are the goals, both maybe for this year and then beyond?
I'm just kind of taking it 1 week at a time from the rest of this year. I'm just gonna try to finish. I want to make state, I want to make all-stars, and I want to perform well at state. And all the other tournaments, JBSCs, I want to perform well at that. But eventually I want to start going and looking at colleges to go bowl collegiately, because I mean, I really love bowling and I want to further extend that as much as possible. And I want to bowl collegiately. So
Yeah.
that's the goal.
Is there a certain type of program or university that would kind of be something that would attract your attention, at least at this point?
I do have a couple in mind. Mount Mercy is a big one. I really like their program, and I like the size of their like schooling. It's not very big. It's not something like overwhelming, but something kind of close to like my high school, but it seems like a very good education wise and like bowling, because education comes first before bowling. But
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, that's great stuff. You've seen a couple of these before. So you know that at the end of them, we always go off the sheet. And that means I ask you to challenge somebody else. Doesn't have to be the greatest bowler in the world, but certainly can be, to appear on a future episode. And, you know, we look for people who are passionate about the sport and have a unique story to tell. So, Tailen Scheuermann, who would you like to challenge to be on a future episode of Bowling with the Fef?
There is an amazing, great youth bowler. His name is Topher Shazinski. Sorry, I butchered his last name, but he's a great attitude towards the sport, and he loves bowling, and he's almost at every single tournament. I don't know, I'll have to contact him and try to get him on here, but I bet he has a great story to tell you.
All right, from this area or from
I'm not 100% sure. I think he might be around the Madison area.
Okay.
But we've over the like JBSTs and everything, we became pretty good friends and love bowling with him. He's a great guy.
Okay. Well, Topher, if you happen to see this either live or on replay and you're interested in possibly being on a future episode of the show, you can reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook. My name is Andrew Pfeffer, or you can email the show at bowlingwiththefef@yahoo.com, and we can work toward making that happen if you're interested. So our next live stream, as you all know, is the Chippewa Valley Match Games coming up this Sunday, approximately 2:30 in the afternoon, when we bring you the stepladder finals of the event. That is this Sunday, January 7th. And then the following week, Monday, January 15th, we're going to bring this guy on. His name is Mike Peck, and he's from Sioux City, Iowa. If you caught any of our coverage of the Champions Pro Shop Open from Owatonna, Minnesota in the fall, you might have seen him. You probably heard me talking about him. He competed in the qualifying rounds there. He's also a regular in many other tournaments across the Midwest, and we'll get to know him when he shares his story here. Again, January 15th at 7 p.m. Central is when Mike will join us. But Tailen, it has been a pleasure getting to know you and digging into your bowling story. Best of luck. Of course, this weekend at the high school meet and on into the future.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
You bet. And thanks to all of you for watching. Always appreciated. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel if you like what you saw here. Otherwise, we will see you this weekend for the Chippewa Valley match games live